Hi everyone, I'm back to start finishing up our stitch along, which is exciting. We'll be doing a cool stitch today called the Picot stitch, or Picot, depending on who you ask. Oh, okay. Itchy nose. Then once I'm done with the stream, I have lots I've got to do, because we are moving next week, which has come up very quickly. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll have a whole new background. We'll just wait one more minute and then we'll get started. I'll keep getting set up. I'll be doing quite a bit of the green today. We've only got 2 more stitches to do. Oops. Guess that wasn't on tight enough. And we're going to need 2 needles today. Now, if you've got sewing needles, so one that has like a ball on the end, that is going to be super helpful for you. I actually don't have needles like that. But yeah, it's not required. Oops. Dropping needles in my lap, that's not great. Could be spiky. Just getting my second needle ready. Alrighty, let's get started. As I said, today we're going to do the Picot stitch, or Picot, however you want to pronounce it. So we're going to be doing the leaves on the palm tree. Why doesn't that want to stay up? Probably because that wasn't tight. So we're obviously going to need our green, which I suggest is 966. Oops. There we go. Oh, I didn't bring up my pattern. I really don't think I need it today, but just in case. Yeah, we need all 6 strands and 2 needles for this. How many strands is that? I think it's, yeah, it's only 4. And you need quite a long cut of floss for this. So because it's been a hot minute since I streamed, I'm going to show you how I do my quilter's knot. So I'm just going to pinch, wrap around twice, and then pinch it, the wrapped bit around, and then pull it through. Until it gets to the end and makes a knot. Just going to put my phone on silent. There we go. Now, we're going to start with the big tree. We're going to work our way from left to right with the leaves. And to start them, we're going to come up like as close to the rope stitch as possible. And then get our second needle. And we're going to go into where we want it. The leaves that we've drawn are just a guideline. We're not actually going to be really following them. But that's as long as we want the leaf to be. And we're going to go under and get tangled up under it, and then we're going to go in to the fabric on the other side. And then not pull through too tight. We're going to come up again on this side of the needle. We want this to be kind of loose because we need the space. This will be our inner like lines, and you'll understand what I mean in a sec. And then go back in. We want that one to be a little bit tighter so that they sit further inside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little lines, and then we're going to come up as close to the needle as possible to make our 5th line. And we're going to go underneath, and then this is where the fun starts. We're going to, I like to use the blunt end of the needle, and we're going to weave our needle, which is kind of tricky with 6-stranded thread, but you want to make sure before I start that whichever side you've done your last one on, whether it's wrapped around this way or wrapped around this way, you follow the way that the thread is going to go. So we're not going to start threading from this side, we're going to start threading from this side. And it'll be really, really helpful if you do have a hoop stand, and that way you can use both hands. So we're going to go under the first one, we're going to go over the first line, under the second one, over the third one, under the fourth one, which is really tricky to see actually because of the way my floss is sitting. And then we leave it for the 5th one. And then we're going to just go the other way. So now we're going to go under the first one, over the second one, under the third one, over the fourth, and under the 5th. And that is basically the whole stitch. Sorry, my phone's having trouble focusing. So you want your first ones to be kind of tight, because otherwise you're going to have a big loop here. But you don't want to pull too tight that you're squishing in the sides. So you've got to find a happy medium somehow. And then we're going to just go back under the second one again, and then under the 4th one. Sorry about the sirens in the background. Something's happening. And then the next row we're going to go under the first, under the third, and under the 5th. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get all the way down to the end here. See, I've pulled that too tight and that's squishing it in. So I'll just push it out again. So this is a very slow stitch because you want to make sure that all your tension is correct. All of your little rows are sitting properly and yeah, just to look right, because you can't really undo this and fix a bit. If you mess up, you've got to cut out the whole thing and redo it that way. So the lighter you leave them, the less tension you put on each little strand, the thicker it's gonna be with the leaf. You see how it's like pointed, and I'm letting it sort of sit a bit looser as I go along, and that'll let me manipulate it once we're all done, because we're going to do some little anchoring stitches as well. And that'll help get this little curve happening. But yeah, slow and steady. And just stick your needle into the little grooves to like push it all down so it's nice and full. You don't want to see these lines here. You want to see the columns, you want to see the rows. If you're using something other than a 6-strand floss, you'll be able to thread it through a lot easier than having to do them one at a time. Trying to get an angle where my hand doesn't keep pulling focus. So it's very similar to the basket weave, except we need an odd number of strands. Unlike the basket weave, you can do as many as you want. And then we're getting really close to the rope stitch, which we just need to make sure that we don't snag the floss from that. Otherwise it's just in the way, basically. We are eventually going to run out of floss on this side, and we'll have to just do it on this side. And that's okay, that'll just give it a little bit of character. And it'll sit sort of more natural for what we want. Might actually have to do it for this one. Oh no, I can get in there. maybe. Yep, there we go. So I've got one little bit here that I'm not happy with. There isn't really anything I can do about it except like try and mask it. So I've just kind of pulled it through a little bit. Now we've run out of lines on this side, so now I'm just going to thread it through one, and then that's that row, and now I'm going to go into the middle one from the other direction, and that's our one, and then what was the fifth one is now the third one, and that's our whole stitch. Now we're going to just lift it up a little bit and poke in, and that's our whole stitch. And now we can pull out this needle. You can just like rub your fabric and that'll get the hole away. And see, now we've got our little loop here. So the tighter we started it off, the smaller that loop is, but that's always going to happen. And now we've got our little leaf that we'll eventually tack down. We'll use that little loop to like tack it down there, and that'll make it sit up nice. So mine's a little flat at the moment, but you can see that I can actually stick my fingers under there and manipulate how it's sitting. But yeah, that's our little leaf so far. And now we can do the next one. So I'm actually going to do it out here. This is not a great angle. I'm not a lefty. Actually, we're going to do it about here, and I'll learn from my past mistakes. Alright, so that's the next one. We don't have to cut off the floss if we don't want to. No, that's actually a really bad angle. We'll do it even more around here. Okay. So I've just gone in here, so I'm going to start on the other side now, so that I don't accidentally come up too close and make the fabric have to hold too much tension with not enough fabric. They've gone in between. There we go. Now we want this one to be kind of loose, and we kind of want to go, we want to overlap the leaves so there's no gap. So we're going to just lift it up and go in behind the other one a little bit. And then we're going to come up, do our second loop. We want that one to be a little bit tighter, and then go in. And then come up as close to the middle as you can. And go around. And now, because I've come around this way, I'm going to start with the second one on this side, pulling it kind of tight, and then going under the fourth one. Just got to figure out which is just the fourth one. As I said before, this is a lot easier if you're using something like a pearl thread, but with the 6th strand, it's just a little tricky. It's not impossible, just a little tricky. Okay, and once we've got the first 2 rows in, we can kind of like maneuver it and set up everything. So I can wriggle the first row up so we make the hole, this hole here, as small as possible. And move the second row up and not make it too tight, because we want all of the rows here to be nice and flat so we can see them properly. And just remember, don't pull this like that, because then that's way too tight and you'll make your leaves really skinny and very sad. I don't want sad leaves. Just keep it nice and gentle and go nice and slow, so that you don't miss any of the weaves. This one's lending to being able to weave in one go for each row a bit more than the other one. It's probably because of the angle I'm on, to be honest. There we go. We'll do that last one in the second run. That goes with that. Okay. If you've got any questions, let me know. The only other thing to this stitch really is how we're going to tack it down. But yeah, it is kind of slow, and that's alright. So my floss is starting to get a bit unruly, and I've just noticed it with that last pull through. So I'm actually going to just stop there for a second, just make it all even again. So I've somehow gotten a knot. How have I done that? Okay. Alright. Just fix that one because I did pull it tight for a sec. And then we'll keep going. going to shift. I'm going to actually shift the whole hoop so that I can do this a bit easier. Just on a little bit of a different angle. I'll move the hoop again once I go on to the next stitch. But now I can like get under this one a bit easier. Under this one being the first leaf that we did. I think the hardest thing about recording myself stitching is figuring out where to put my hands. Oops. Look, some people just make it look so easy. Like, I'm trying so hard to not get my hands in the way. So I apologize. Okay, we'll be able to do one more, hopefully, under this one. There we go. Oh, if I got that caught on the needle, I do. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go under. And wriggle all this down. Under. Maybe. And then under the middle one. And then under the last one. And then we're just going to do these last two by themselves. And then go in. Shift its position. We can take the needle out. And that's our second little one. Just gonna fix that before I completely anchor it in. There we go. Alright. So that's our second little one. Still not happy with that. That's frustrating. Thought I fixed it. Pull it through this side. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, so the third one we kind of want to be straight up and down. We want to find the needle, there we go. Just going to pull my fabric tight again. And I've still got enough thread on this needle, so I'm just going to start the next one. So we're going to come up, go around, and then I'm going to do this one behind as well. And then up. And this one's going to go just behind it. And then try and get into the middle as close as possible. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a tangled mess. Maybe. I don't want that to go around the needle. There we go. Oh, what have I done? I gotta undo that. I've gone through one of the threads, so it wasn't gonna move up properly. So my floss is a little bit of a disaster at the moment. Just trim it down. There we go. Okay, try that again. To avoid the issues that I'm having, you can swap your needle to a rounded tip one when you're doing the weaving. And that way you don't need to use this end. You can still use the other working end. Because you don't want to poke like this with a sharp needle, because you're just going to pierce your little columns that you're working with, and then it won't sit right. Okay, so now I'm going to fix all my positioning of all my strands. So it's good to just kind of pull it tight and then loosen it to get them all sitting in position properly. At least that's what I find easier. I'm going to have to change the angle of my hoop because that's why I'm having so much trouble. Okay, let's adjust that again. Alright, that should be easier. If you got any questions, let me know, even if it's about something different than what I'm doing here. Like if you stuck on a different stitch from this stitch along, that's not a problem. And trying to explain stuff without the stitching visual. adjust how I'm sitting. Back's getting sore. Oops. When you think you're almost done and then you reposition all the stitches and you still got lots of space to go. So just remember to keep them nice and loose. You don't want to make them too tight. Just fixing my spacing from up there. Oh, it got caught on my finger. Okay, so when we get to the end, it starts getting a little bit more difficult to thread them, but we want to try and get as much of it threaded as possible. So I should be able to do one more back and forth. I did these two very close together though. This is a little bit tricky. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go under both, and then I'm going to try and, yeah, that's easier. Go back over that one. There we go. Alright. Last one. Oops. So I got that caught around the needle. There we go. And then I'm going to go in as close as possible to where it's ended. And we can take out that needle. And that's our third little one. Isn't it cute? So I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna tie it off this because I'm gonna be cutting it really close with how much floss I have left, I think. So it creates like no stitches on the back because everything's on the front. Oops. Oh, everything is just not going my way today. There we go. Okay, I'm going to save that though because I can probably use that for one of the smaller little leaves. Then I'm going to get another cut of floss. Oh, okay. I'll save that for later. Apparently I had a really long cut of it already. That was weird. Alright. That's ready. Now we are gonna make this leaf sit over the top of the writing, which is why we had to make sure that we did this writing first before we did this stitch. It would have been very difficult to try and stitch this S with the leaf in the way. And trust me, I know that from experience. Because that's how I did the other one. So I want this leaf to sit over the top. So I'm actually going to go in front of the other leaf. We want that one to be loose. And then I'm going to come up on the other side of the needle, make this one a little bit tighter. Make it sit in front of the other leaf as well. And then try and come up in the middle. And then start. Oh, I forgot to bring this in, sorry. I was like, I can see what I'm doing properly. That's because you guys couldn't see what I was doing. Which one? It's this one. You know what? Are we gonna do that? They come up in the same hole, so we're gonna go with what wants to sit on the outside. And as long as we keep it that way, it'll be fine. So I'm going to pull it tight and then loosen it to begin with. We want to push it as far up as we can get it. And we just want to make sure we don't snag the stem stitch behind it when we're threading it through. But if you're using the blunt end, then you should be fine. So you might notice that I come in from the base to like find the gap. You don't have to do that. But I do find that with the 6 strand, trying to do this stitch, or any kind of weaving stitch, makes it just a little bit easier to figure out where it's supposed to go. So the leaves on the littler tree are going to take a bit quicker to do because they are a little bit smaller. But this is probably the longest, most fiddliest stitch of all of them. What's the time? Oh boy. I will be finishing this tree on stream, but I will not be doing the second tree on stream. If you're not aware, I'm moving house next week, and I have a lot of things I need to do. Especially things that need to be done during business hours. Today I had virtual school, as usual, for my daughter. And then 2 doctor's appointments for my kids, which ran an hour over time. There was a very upset baby at the office. And then I had to shovel food in me, and because otherwise I'd be hangry from lunch. And yeah, and then this. So yeah. How am I going to get under that one? Like that. There we go. So we're going to do the same trick as we did before. Where we only going to weave through some of them for this bit, because we're at the end here, but we're not over here. So we're going to go just under the one, and then under one this way. And then we're going to go in. I have to actually pull this out to get into where I need to go. Okay, so that's the 4th leaf. Oh, that one sits nicely. And then we want to do the last leaf. So we kind of want it to touch and overlap the trunk a bit, because otherwise you're going to have this big gap like what happened with mine. So I did it properly with this one, but I don't really want this big gap here. I'd like it to sit overlapped like these two are really nicely. So we're going to go kind of here. And here. Oh, I've got a busted nail. It just got caught on my stitches. I want it to sit in front. getting all my foundation stitches laid out properly. And I'm trying to get into the middle. Oh, come on. There we go. Now we can weave. Let me get that one out of the way. Yeah, I did a number on that with my nail, didn't I? That blows. Okay, I'm going to turn my work again. There it is. Okay, now that I've got those set up, I can push all my stitches up into the right places. That's better. Oh, come on, what's going on there? Cool. There we go. So you do need to be aware of all your surrounding stitches. You don't want to tug or get your nail caught on any like I just did before. But otherwise, it's just slow and steady wins the race, basically. Oh my gosh, I just did it again. Let me just find some nail clippers. If I've got any. I thought I did. Yeah. To try and, it's just super low, like, you can see it's like super low to the nail bed. I don't have any band-aids, otherwise I'd just put a band-aid on. I've just caught it here as well. It's about the best I can do. Alright, where's my needle? There. Sorry to be so quiet. I've got a lot going on in my head right now. But as I've said, if you've got any questions, let me know. Oh, I keep catching the lava leaves. And that'll happen. There's really nothing you can do about that. They're in the way until we tack them down, which we'll do shortly. So, running out of space again. Now because this middle one, oh, I should be able to go in. I was going to say, this middle one is like really, really tiny. Might not be possible to get under. You can just skip it. Because we are going to be putting French knots in the middle. And it just gives it character as well. But the closer you can get to the fabric, the better it will be. Can I get under this one? Just. Okay. Now I'm going to pull out the needle and go in behind. And that's our leaves. I'm just going to turn it so that you can see it a bit better. So they are going to sit and have a life of their own, which is why we want to tack them down. So I'm just going to cut off my thread. And now to do the tacking down, we just want one strand of the green. So just, yeah, one strand. I'm going to get my little tiny needle. You're not going to need a lot, so a little scrappy piece is fine as well. If that's all you've got. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of follow the pattern now. So we're going to tack that one down there. So I'm just going to come up where the point is in the pattern, get my leaf and go through the loop, and then go back in the exact same spot that I've just come up at, and that'll just put it into place. You don't have to follow the pattern for this bit. That's really spinny. There we go. You can have your leaves wherever you want them. See, like that one I'm just going to do so it's a little bendy. It doesn't really follow the pattern very well. It's kind of cute. So you want to make sure you go through the loop that the stitch itself creates. And that just kind of hides it a bit better. And there we have it. So they will just sit on their own, sort of all bounced up. If you move them in, then they'll bounce up like even more. Like if you do the anchoring stitch closer to the center. You can add more leaves if you want. Like I considered adding some more in these two kind of gaps here. I didn't want to make it too much work, so that's why I just did 5 and 4. But yeah, go nuts with it. And that's, yeah, the Picot stitch, or Picot. So yeah, that's that stitch. I am going to finish off the other tree off stream because I've got to make some phone calls and things like that. So try and have that done. We have to have that done before we can do tomorrow's stitch, which is the last stitch, which will be the French knot. And that should be a pretty quick day. And then after that, we'll be finishing our hoop and we'll be all done, which is awesome. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or I guess it's too late to do the live now because I'm about to end it. But if you have any questions, send me post a comment or DM me. That's fine too. And I hope that you're enjoying this piece, and we're almost completed. This is what it looks like at the end. And this is where we're at now. So we got French knots in here and here and all the little toes, and then we're all done. Yay! Alrighty, thanks so much, and I will see you tomorrow.